Hey there, riders and dot watchers. Welcome to the Great American Ride Recap Show presented by Buddy. I'm your host, Charles. And boy, it is hot. How hot is it? It is hotter than Satan's house cat sitting in a frying pan. I know I was out there with my teammates yesterday. We were all getting in some miles, and I think I drank as much water as I've ever drunk. So make sure that you're staying safe, well hydrated, and if you start to feel a little funny, sit down in the shade and cool off for a minute. What do we have up on this edition of the recap show? Well, I had a great interview with the second finishers, Artemis Racing, out of the Washington metro area. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to check in on the third place battle and take a look at the overall leaderboard. When we last caught up, team number 3, Molly's Bike Shop, had taken over the third place position, passing the Fast Fierce Felines, number 50. So let's take a look at what happened from Thursday onward. You can see that Molly's Bike Shop started moving pretty well into the evening on Thursday. They had a few big rides added as they started to come through Iowa and into Illinois. But then on Friday, the Felines started adding up miles, and they made their move late in the day on Friday, right around the Illinois state line. Here they go. So they started to really kick it into gear Friday afternoon, and then they just kept piling on the miles into Friday evening. And once we get to Saturday, they really kicked it up a notch. So we'll see that that mileage start to kick in here in just a second. You can see Molly's made an effort early in the day, and there's a good chase pack coming, but the Felines just started running away with it in the afternoon. So the Felines, as of the end of the day on Saturday, had made it into Ohio, and they're currently sitting at 3,500 miles total. So they're just 200 miles from the finish here on Sunday afternoon. We'll flip over to another view here, and we'll watch what happened this morning as the Felines accelerated through Ohio. They've put in some fantastic riding over the last 48 hours to open up a lead over Molly's Bike Shop, who's currently in 4th. And it looks like the Felines have a shot at potentially closing this thing out tonight or early tomorrow. I don't know where they are in terms of their legs or who's uploaded their rides or who may still be out there riding right now on Sunday. But you can see the Felines have ended up putting in a really great performance for that third finish. Remember, the Felines are an 8-person team, and they're competing against 12-person teams there at that top of the overall leaderboard, which is an amazing feat. Let's see if they can push it the last couple hundred miles, make it to DC, and take that third finish. Let's take a look at how the other leaderboards are stacking up. What we're going to do is break it down really quickly by the 12, 8, and 4-person team categories. So we're going to look at all the teams in those categories right now as a leaderboard by team member count. So you can see here for the 12-person team category, we've got Shift Lab, they're already done. Artemis is already done. Molly's Bike Shop is coming in a strong third in the 12-person category. The Adaptive Cycling Warriors are currently in 4th in the category, and the Paddlers with Pedals are coming in 5th. We'll see how this shakes up over the next few days. Now over to the 8-person teams. You can see the Fast Fierce Felines have a fairly solid lead here in the 8-person category. Right now, they are just a couple hundred miles outside of DC. Second in the 8-person team category is Team Thunderstruck, followed by the Troglodytes, TVV, and Beerly Pedaling. So there's a little more separation at the top of the 8-person team leaderboard, but it looks like the Felines are going to lock this up in the next 24 hours. And now on to the 4-person teams. These folks are really putting up some serious miles. First in the 4-person category is the Hegg Street Bullies, followed by the Cyclopaths, Coming in at third is Team Outpost. Fourth is the Fat Frogs Racing Team. And fifth is Team Terrible. So the 4-person category is truly amazing to see you all up in the double thousands plus. That is an incredible amount of riding for a week. It's phenomenal that you're able to keep your legs in shape, your saddles in shape. So keep out there, keep it up, stay hydrated, stay well fed and well rested. So that's where the leaderboard stands on Sunday afternoon. It looks like we're going to have a third place finisher coming in soon. We've got a lot of teams who are in the hunt who I think at the beginning of the week we'll start to see cruising into Washington, D.C. So we should have our top 5 to 10 teams over the next 48 to 72 hours. Now remember, teams who did not start at the beginning during the Grand Depart, they can still enter and they can still ride faster and claim those top spots. So if you're out there, you think you've got a bunch of mile hogs who can ride faster than the teams that we've seen in these different categories, you still got a shot. This event runs until the 11th of September, so we may see some late-breaking entries who can really crush some miles this summer. Now, on to my interview with Team Artemis, the second finisher of the Great American Ride. Hey there, members of Artemis Racing. Welcome. Congratulations on your second place finish in the Great American Ride. I know that took a lot of pedaling to get that dot all the way across the country. Thanks for joining us today. And you all are based in and around Washington, D.C., is that right?
Yes, and we have most of our members are in the metro area. We have members as far north as New Jersey, as far west as California, and as far east as Puerto Rico. So I'm Cheryl Osborne. I am the founding member of Artemis. There were 4 of us. I'm the last woman standing. We started the team in 1999, so we're in our 21st year, and I have been racing that entire time. Wow. And goes without saying, I love my team. Yay.
David Osborne.
Have you been on the team the whole time?
No, I've been on the team for how many years?
The whole time.
The whole time, yeah. And I've been racing, competing for 36 years, if you can believe that. I've been racing a long time, and I'm the membership coordinator on Artemis. And I love my team, love my teammates. I'm always recruiting. Our team mission is to get women into the sport. And, you know, this is new for most of us. I think all of us, you know, this type of ride. So it was fun. It was interesting. Glad it's over.
Well, I'm John Hartsfield. I've been with the team now about 6 years. And I just love my team, my teammates, and love riding.
I'm John Tonetti. I've been riding with Artemis for 2 years, been cycling since, 1987, seriously. I'm with John H. I mean, this is a great group of people to be around, and we have a lot of fun together riding, and they keep you motivated.
I'm Davey Hearn. I've been with Artemis for 2 years now, and just really enjoy riding with these guys. It's a great group, and we've got a great team spirit together.
Yeah, hey Charles. Name is Casey. That's actually a nickname I got from cycling in Kenya. That's where I started riding. So at the age of 16, and moved to the States in '94. And I raced for a couple of years, and I met David Osborne in '96. And then I stopped cycling for a while. And then I went back to cycling and rejoined Artemis about 8 years ago. And I've been racing with Artemis ever since. And this actually ended up being one of our most fun things that we have done.
Okay. Can I chime in on something real quick?
Of course.
Yeah, one member that's not on, her name is Jill Patterson, but she was, she did the challenge with us. Mm-hmm. She is a racer on our team. She won the New York Grand Fondo, the Garrett County Grand Fondo, the Jeremiah Bishop Grand Fondo, and I believe she came in third in that one overall, men and women. So she is
amazing,
incredible. Yeah.
So I assume that even though you all have finished, she's out riding again today. With
kind of track record. Most likely.
I did forget one little tidbit about me. I'm the president of the team.
There you go.
I don't think about it much. Just to give a very short background on Artemis,
Please.
we saw that women weren't getting much support in the region. So 4 of us broke off from another team and we started Artemis. We were only ever intending to be 8 strong, women only, but it has grown as big as 60, and we also have a really big team in Puerto Rico.
With a group that big, what's your regular schedule? What events do you all like to participate in, and how do you keep all those people in touch as the president?
Well, up until 2020, we were primarily a race team. It seems kind of odd, but the good thing that's happened is that the COVID has allowed us to get back to just riding our bikes and riding a lot more together than we ordinarily would have under the circumstances, because racing, unfortunately, takes a lot away from riding. And I think we've all realized how much we miss that. I think it helps a lot that we are very family oriented, the entire team. So we all have a good understanding of each other and each other's circumstances. And I think that's what makes us so different from all the other teams in the region. It's like we truly are a family on and off the bike. Yeah, for me, it was good motivation. I was coming off of a pretty bad back injury back in December. So I was like, I don't care about riding my bike. It hurts, blah, blah, blah. And then Davey brought this up, and I don't ride centuries routinely, and I have put more miles in the past 5 days than I have in an entire month. So I think it was really good for me because it gave me a good motivation to kickstart my riding again and boost everything. And it even, I think it brought us all even closer together because we've all felt really accountable and responsible for each other. But I think that this challenge really cemented that.
It was truly fun in this time. And, it motivated us to, go out and get miles. I rode 6 centuries, 6 days in a row, which I've never even come close to doing.
But regarding this, and Davey, when he brought this ride to us, this was, I think it might have been Friday, but I kind of got the gist of it on Saturday, and we were about to do a century on Saturday. And so I'm guilty of not taking this thing seriously. I kind of feel bad because after we did we almost all did the century on Saturday. We did 109 miles. And then I didn't take it seriously enough to ride the following day and be competitive, because by the time we finished Saturday and we posted up our miles, I think we had close to 1,200 miles or 1,100 miles, and we were leading. And somebody sent the live standings, and we were pretty happy that we didn't think anybody was going to be going as hard as we were going, and we had started. And so I think Sunday, very few of us, maybe David and maybe one other person may have ridden on Sunday. And that's when we lost the lead. And we were a day late, I think. And we were kind of bummed about that. But, it's a learning experience.
I will point out that this event does run until September. So you could enter as another team and try to go get that first place time still and be fastest to do the mileage. I'm gonna plant that seed in your bonnets.
You gotta get us all fired from the few jobs that we have left by the time.
Yeah, Charles, I agree with what they were saying, because I watched the interview you did with Shift Labs, and like I said, those guys, I don't know, I guess they had more time or they thought about it more, because one of the leaders was saying that they did a running event, some of their teammates, the 5K run or something. And so they kind of knew, I guess, a little more, had a little more history about how it would work than we did. And the guy would say, hey, we cleaned our calendar, made sure that they took some days off during the week. So when we was at work, they was still out riding, so that definitely, helped a lot. They had a good strategy and a plan. Now we, learn from this and see how it works. If we ever did it again, we'd probably have a better strategy for us.
What worked for you all that allowed you to come in second? And, quite frankly, you did open up a huge gap between you all and the rest of the field. So there were still a lot of things that were working well in your favor. So what were some of those that helped you all just motivate and push through?
Well, I can say for the ride, so that ride that we did Saturday was planned before we even knew about this competition. So since like the pandemic started, me and a couple of teammates were doing like centuries every weekend anyway, almost every weekend up until today. We was doing like a century ride at least on a Saturday or sometime on a Sunday, but at least one of those days on the weekend we would do a century. So we knew we had miles in our legs and stuff, we could do it. But as far as doing, the way we did this particular event, like I said, we didn't really plan anything because it kind of like last minute thing. And we just, hey, who wants to join? And a couple of people got together and said, hey, we'll do it.
We got started. We had our ride planned for the first Saturday and ended up with, I think it was 1,030 miles. We're in the lead. We're like, oh, and then as soon as that happened, the fires lit under everybody. Hey, we're gonna, and we thought that would, then we had the idea we could win it, and that was a reasonable idea, but we didn't really know that those Shift Lab guys were gonna do essentially back-to-back centuries on the part of at least 5 or 6 of their team members. And our hats are off to Shift Labs. Next time, I think we'll be ready, perhaps.
So, Davey, you said that you, in this event, may have biked as much as you've biked in 3 days. Did anybody else have those sort of personal achievements as part of this event, whether it was, this many centuries in a row or longest ride, anything like that?
Well, after we did the century Saturday, the next day I said I wanted to do something, and I already was off on that Monday, so I rode the century Saturday. I did say I'm gonna put at least 50 miles or something Sunday, which I did that. Dave was off that Monday, and so I linked up with him and we did another century that Monday, and I ended up doing like 122 miles, which is my longest ride I ever done before that Sunday. So I ended up with like 400 and some miles, which I've never did that much in that 3-4 day span. So that was definitely, and actually, like I was telling you earlier, I mean, my legs felt fine. It was my saddle, that was killing me sometimes. My butt was getting sore, but my legs felt fine. I was amazed, I guess, because we did so many centuries, in the past few months. My legs were good, but it's just my butt was tired of sitting on that seat.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
David had a huge personal best because he ended up riding, I think you can say for himself, but right, David?
Yeah, that's the most centuries by far I've ever done. And it's like when I finished one and I did another one, I started riding the next day thinking, I'm going to get 50, 60 miles. Then it kept creeping up and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for a century. Just kept doing that and kept doing that. So maybe it's a habit now.
It's often better when you start a ride that you don't necessarily know how long it's going to be, and then it becomes long when you're feeling good. And if you had to start every morning going, I'm going to ride 100, 110, 120 miles, that would make it a lot tougher maybe. Hey, I just want to interrupt for a second. I have my wife Jennifer here, who's on the Paddlers with Pedals team, who's in 7th place right now, and she just is going to say a word, I think.
First of all, congratulations, go Artemis. You guys are totally inspirational. So let me tell you, our household, we have a competition going on all the time. I joined John Lugbill's team, and Davey's like, what, you're on John's team? I'm like, yeah, there's a bunch of good paddlers going to join this team. So there's always fierce competition in our house. And it's actually got me out riding again. So I appreciate y'all.
And being on the call with so many of y'all, you can definitely feel the camaraderie and the love among the group. So that's really awesome to see. And it's easy to imagine being motivated by a group of people like this.
Well, while we were doing the ride, we had this ongoing text conversations through the days of, I posted 50 miles, I posted 80 miles. Oh, Super Dave is out doing 600 miles today. So, it's definitely like you didn't want to be the laggard in the group for sure. And of the people that are on this call, I think I'm the laggard. So
they all count.
Every mile, exactly. Every mile counted.
So,
hey Charles, amongst them, besides the modesty that Davey is actually showing, he is worth noting that he is actually a world champion white rafting and rowing. He's actually was also part of the Olympic team. I think 3-time Olympian. So we're very happy to have him, and he's a very competitive guy. I mean, he doesn't back up from anything that's put up there in front of him. So we're very happy to have people like that, people like David, who've been racing for, like you say, 30-some plus years. And at the end of the day, when we finished this ride and the competition, the one thing that we all came back from this were like, we couldn't believe how easily we took this thing that we felt like we should have won 100%. And that's how we felt. Like, we lost because we were complacent on Sunday. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think this was, good for us. So we're not going to be that way should we enter another competition.
That was the big lesson for you all on this one.
Yeah.
Was sort of what the virtual ride strategy can be. I think this is my first virtual race that I've participated in, so I'm learning a lot too. But the strategy that seems to be developing consistently is like, clear your schedule, pump as many miles as you can, and especially for an event like this, the running version, there was a cap on the number of hours you could do, but this one there's not. So that one had slightly different cadence, but for something like this where it's uncapped, like plan a trip and just ride your bike across the country with 12 friends.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really part of what I enjoyed about it was how we adapted to the circumstances. And, I told everybody, hey, we just keep riding what we're riding. We'll do it in about a week and a half. It's no big deal. Part of that was to get people to do it, of course. But then once we were on board, Super Dave, really took a lot of responsibility, and he was talking to me. He wasn't saying, hey, we should all do this. He's saying, yeah, I'm going to go and I can probably take off work Monday. And so we had people, and John Hartsfield and also Howard Tyndall, who's not on this, but really committing and without having to be prodded, just on their own wherewithal, saying, I can do this, I can do this. And that definitely got me going. It's like, well, I better get going too and see what I can do. So it was a good, real team fun thing, I think.
Yeah, it's cool to see how teams are able to inspire one another throughout this process, and that's become a common thread in a lot of the conversations. Is you see your teammate put up a ride early in the morning, or you see them do a big day, and you may be a little sore, but you're like, okay, I saw that person do it, and now I'm going to get up and I've got to do my bit, because I'm sure they're feeling the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, now John Tinetti, I know you do a pretty good amount of miles normally, and this ended up being quite a few more than you usually do, and my hat's off to you and everyone else on the team for accepting this challenge. So
along the way, were there things that didn't quite go right? Did anybody have any mechanical issues, or in talking to some of the other teams, there's certainly been some weather that's affected them in their parts of the country. Did you all have any of those challenges?
No rain, nothing, just a lot of heat. It didn't rain at once.
The only challenge I had was not really a challenge. I got a flat one day on MacArthur Boulevard, and probably cost me about 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, I was like, man, I'm missing out on miles. Let me hurry up and fix this flat. So probably only lost about 3 miles or something.
Nice.
No, we were very lucky to have good weather in a sense that it didn't rain. It was very hot though, like Cheryl said. This area is actually very huge in cycling. So like very competitive compared to we would probably be in the top 5 of one of the most competitive areas after California, and probably, like the Denver, Colorado area, whatever Colorado area or Northern California part, because you have Virginia, Maryland, and DC, and a lot of riders, a lot of teams are out here. So fitness wise, we've actually been doing numbers that most people have been doing miles that they've not done in previous years because of COVID. And the fitness level of people riding in this type of weather is amazing around this area. I mean, you have some really strong teams and riders out here. And the fact that the rains didn't come, and, we had somewhat dry days, helped us a lot.
What's one piece of gear that made this ride better for you all? Or what's one piece of gear that you definitely want to replace before your next big ride?
All of our kits are done by Pactimo. I'm going to give a shout out to them. And I really like their kit. We put in a lot of miles, and most of us were wearing our Pactimo kit, and I don't think we would have been able to do it without.
How about Super Dave? You certainly have tested your equipment pretty heavily over the last week. How's it holding up?
Yeah, I love my Giant. I have a Giant Propel, and Giant is a bike sponsor, and that's the most comfortable bike that I've ever ridden. And I think the bike was perfect. I set, a record for myself riding wise. So the only thing I could probably change would be some clip-on aero bars like Greg LeMond had in the last stage of the tour. Other than that, I don't have any excuses or anything. Everything ran smooth. My bike worked. My body was working good.
My bike definitely made all the miles a lot easier. I ride a Live Longma, which is also part of our Giants grassroots deal. So, comfortable, good fitting bike makes all the difference. The one thing I would add though would be a Camelback, because that would cut down on us having to stop to replenish liquids and whatnot. Because, we lose a lot of time, which equals the lost miles, having to refuel. So I would add a Camelback the next time, in addition to my bottles.
I did start using my Camelback again for this. I almost used it Saturday, but I decided not to because we had vehicle support. But I used it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, probably Wednesday, and it was a huge help because I could carry, it's not a huge one, but it's about 50 ounces, so it's equal to 2 big bottles. And when I was riding at Haynes Point, most of the bathrooms and drinking fountains are turned off down there, and so I was able to use the Camelback and then have lemonade and salt mix in the bottles, and that got me through 2 to 3 hours. These hot days are about a bottle a day type weather. We've had around 20 days of 90 plus temperatures, and the record's continuing here in the Washington area. We just broke it yesterday, I think. It was 21 days. So one of the days at Haynes Point, I actually went over and I was able to get water at the bathroom at the base of the Washington Monument. That was one of the few bathrooms that was open, and the water was super cold. It was awesome. I filled up back my 2 bottles. So that's been a huge thing. And Camelback's great. It's not really the accepted protocol for most bike riders and racers. Bottles are sort of modular, and you can get one from a helper in the race on the side of the road. But Camelback, you can drink out of without really using your hands. Just get the tube to your mouth, and you can drink and not be fumbling with the bottle and maybe causing a crash. So I'm a big believer in the Camelbacks, and you can even freeze them if you want, and that helps keep you cool.
How about you, John H?
I'll probably get me another bike. I want an aero bike. Next bike I got 2. Well, I got a TCR Giant, and then I have another bike, Specialized Late that I ride. But I think I want to be an aero bike next time.
Any words of wisdom you want to share with other teams who are trying to catch you all?
So I think it would be best to know that as more people become aware of this race, as more teams become aware of this race, I think it will be only more competitive, and the miles will disappear even fewer days.
Yep.
So I think the strategy would be get the miles in early. And so I think now it would be even harder because people will probably start posting up some serious miles early in the race or early in the ride. So the thing is, don't take your foot off the pedal. And just last thing, with regards to what equipment you were talking about, I was going to echo what Dave had said with the clip-on bars, because about 2 months ago or a month ago, there's this Eritrean pro rider who's actually riding in Holland, and he's actually a Dutch citizen, and he did 387 miles, and he did it by himself in one day in 17 hours. And on his road bike, he had clip-on bars because he was doing it by himself. So for the rides and the days that we would have done here by ourselves, I think a clip-on bars would actually make it a little bit comfortable, and we would end up probably posting even higher miles. I think that would be a great way. That's the only thing I would probably put on my giant propel as well.
Hey, like every mile counts. If you're
Yep.
tired, I mean, something is better than nothing. Just keep riding.
Awesome. Well, Artemis Racing, thank you all so much for joining me. It's great to hear from all of you. You've got a great team. I hope that that our paths cross at some point here. I'm just down in Richmond, so if I do make it up there, I'll come and ride a few miles. Maybe not.
Oh, cool.
Not quite every single one that you all get into. But, yeah, we'll go out for a social ride.
Well,
And-
if you come out there, we'll be more than happy to join you as well.
Awesome. And by all means, come to Richmond. We've got lots of great riding down here too. So hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. And congratulations again on your finish and your effort. And hopefully we'll see you in our next virtual race. And thanks so much to Artemis Racing. You all put in a fantastic effort. It is going to be a scorcher here on the East Coast for a few more days. So everyone really do your best, stay safe, look out for each other, make sure you're checking in with your teammates as you're out riding. We'll have another episode in the next day or two. We've got some great conversations with Alfredo Lopez from the Adaptive Cycling Warriors. So I'm going to do my best to get that up and ready as quickly as I can. And we'll check back in with the leaderboard and keep you all up to date as this thing moves on. Until next time, ride safe. Hey, one more thing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the latest episodes of the Great American Ride Recap Show presented by Buddy. Say goodbye, Molly.